So, Jamie, you were telling us that you had to speak in church today.
Yes. Yep, I had to speak.
You had that letter.
Yeah, well,
It can't be one word answers.
Oh, I have to say more than yes. So no, I was
good as long as y'all just interview her, not me.
Yeah.
I was speaking in church today, and I wanted to use. We were talking about the new manual that's coming out, the Come Follow Me manual that's coming out next year in a couple weeks. So the bishop wanted us to pump this up and talk about it. So I brought the word joy into it, that you have joy and how fun is different than joy. Anyway, so I got on my computer and we were like digitizing. We were just talking about digitizing with Travis, and that's why it's so important to digitize things. It's because like I wanted to get on there and see if I had any other talks or lessons on joy that I could bring up and have that on the computer and use it. But when I did that this morning, I found a letter of my mom's that she wrote a letter. So Travis wanted me to read this letter that I found in my mom's. I didn't even use it in my talk, but I guess I'll read it now. And I'm not even going to cry.
So what is what's the history behind the letter?
So this letter, she wrote it.
Who did you send that to?
To Brian and my brother Brian and my brother Danny. So she wrote this letter when I was 4 years old, and we lived in. They're filming us.
You can get in there.
Yeah.
Come on in, son.
Come sit down. This is Michelle.
Hello.
No, that's the light.
That's just the light.
That's just the light. Hey, you're not even in the camera.
This is Nate.
Camera's
Come on,
right
Coop.
here.
Hello.
Program, Coop.
So my
Nate will try to
mom,
steal the show.
Karen Louise Anderson Ekins, is my mom. So she wrote this when I was 4 years old, and they were living in Spanish Fork at the time. They built that house in Spanish Fork, and anyway, she talks about what's going on in life right now when she writes it. So she says, it's a letter to all of her kids that are born at the time, and her youngest wasn't even born yet. But at the end of the letter, she wrote everybody's names and then question mark, question mark, question mark. So she probably knew that there was one more coming, which was Danny. So she says, "Dearest Scott, Jamie, Adam," which is Paul. His name's Paul Adam, but when he was little, we called him Adam, and now he's Paul. She says, "Dearest Scott, Jamie, Adam, and Brian, today is Tuesday evening. It's 7:25 p.m. I am sitting at the kitchen table trying to think of something interesting and inspirational to say to my children. I just put you all to bed. Scott, you just came out of your room and told me that Adam was making loud noise, and that you couldn't sleep. Adam, you said that you were still hungry, so I gave you a piece of bread. Brian, I hear you in your crib talking a blue streak. Little Jamie, I don't hear you now, but I'm not holding my breath. Oh, how I love you all. My prayer as I sit here is hoping that that all of you are happy and healthy in 25 years from now. First of all, I want to tell you about what we did today. It's really very ordinary. We all got up. You kids always wake up at 6 o'clock a.m. Heaven help me. Remember, question mark. We had mush with, she calls oatmeal mush, and now I call it mush. We had mush with brown sugar, toast, and milk. Scotty, you didn't have to go to school today because it was parent-teacher conference. You kids were pretty good to get your work done. All four of you got into the tub while I raced through the house trying to get my work done. Little Bri, you got out of the tub about 20 times. I swear you ran into my bedroom and pooped on the carpet.
That's the baby.
She says, I swear, then you ran into my room and pooped on the carpet. You have such a sweet face. Mom could never get angry at you. Well, anyway, you all got dressed, put your hats and coats on, and out the door you went to play. I got a babysitter for a couple hours, and Diane Miller, Jan Alder, and Marcia Nelson and myself went to La Casita for a big plate of Mexican food. Yum, yum. Brent, Daddy, is at school. Let me tell you about your father. He loves each of you very much. Every time he comes home from work, he is bombarded by his children. All of you love to help Daddy and love to be involved in what he's doing. Let me tell you about the state of our world. Ronald Reagan was just elected president. The hostages are still prisoners in Iran. They have been there for over a year now. Prime lending rate is 14% and climbing. Gas is $1.20 a gallon. I get depressed every time I go to good old Storehouse Market. Remember how I hated that place? She says, and I was just telling you about that. The way the situation of our country and this earth is today scares me to death. What really frightens me is that the condition of this earth when you children read this letter. Thank God for my belief and knowledge of the truthfulness of his church. Now I want to tell you how I feel to be a mother, your mother. I am happier now than I have ever been.
I don't think you're gonna get through that.
Being your mother is a lot of hard work. Long hours, frustrating moments, angry moments, worrisome moments. But let me tell you this, by the way, tears are running down my face. I wouldn't trade any of those moments for anything. I have never felt more joy, more happiness, more love, more satisfaction in seeing you sweet children grow and develop. Oh, kids, I am trying to be a good mom. We are trying to have family home evening every week. We are trying to increase our family prayers. Dad and I care about you all of you. I want to bear you my testimony. I know that Heavenly Father lives. I know He loves me. I know He loves each of you. I know this church is true. I sincerely hope that I will be worthy so that we can all be a family forever. Kids, if you don't have a testimony, I ask you now to pray to our Father in heaven and ask if His gospel is true. I love you all. It is my prayer that from now until you open this letter, that I will be a good example to you. I pray that I will have the Spirit with me as I raise you to adulthood. Dad, Scott, Jamie, Adam, Brian, and ? Which is Danny. You all are a joy of my life, and I love you very much, Mom. What you are doing now. Brent, working at BYU, going to night school, being a good husband and father. He is in the Elders Quorum presidency. He is planning a quorum party for this Saturday. Karen, I teach mother's education in Relief Society. I teach rhythmic aerobics at night, 2 nights a week. And I am a fundraising for Larson PTA. Scott, 6 years old, first grade teacher, is Mrs. Ashby. You have 3 permanent teeth. You belong to the Larson choir. You love your dog Becky. You are cute. You are fun to talk to. Jamie, 4 years old, preschool teacher, is Mrs. Simmons. You are a pretty little girl with a charming but shy personality. You are a good little babysitter for Mom. Adam, 3 years old, you are a sweet little boy. You have a big smile and you love to help me make toast in the morning. You are a cute little talker. You are cute as a nickel. Brian, 1.5 years old.
Nickel.
1.5 years
cute.
old, great balls of
Hamilton.
fire. That's how I describe you. Darling personality. You go from room to room undoing what Mom has just done. You have curly hair and a darling face. And that's the letter from my mom.
She mentioned in there, you said you were 4 at the time she wrote it. She
Yeah.
said that she was concerned about the way things would be or what was going on in 25
25 years
When
from
would
then.
that be?
So you'd be 29 at the time.
Yeah, now I'm 42.
Do you remember what you were doing at 29?
29, I was.
1980,
2005.
2005.
So we were out in Georgia
Georgia.
with you guys then. Yeah.
So the world was a pretty crazy place.
We were at war in Iraq then. My dad was fighting in Iraq
That's
at that
right.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh,
So
goodness.
So where did you find this? She gave it to
she
you?
had written it, and I just found it about a year ago, and I decided to type it up and have it on the computer and send it to all
Where'd
my
you find it?
brothers. Just going through a bunch of her stuff.
I thought
yeah,
somebody
it's
gave
awesome.
it to you.
No, it was in. I think my dad had given me a bunch of stuff.
What's the letter that somebody gave to you? It was like
I
a
had
time
what my
capsule.
mom wasn't a very good journal writer at all. She wrote one page in her journal, and then I found this letter, and then the other letter that I have from my mom is when she, in Young Women's, you know, when you go to girls' camp and your parents always write you
Yeah.
something to
Yeah.
open up at girls' camp. I have that letter that she wrote to
Is
me.
that the one
So-
you read on Mother's Day when we
Mhm.
lived in Cary?
Yeah, you remember that.
Yeah.
Like 3 years in a row,
Yeah.
Jamie spoke on Mother's
On
Day.
I
Mother's
remember
Day.
that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in sometime in 1980, did we say? She
Mhm.
just sits down and decides to write a letter to her kids
Yeah.
in the future, right?
Right.
It's kind of like the way the Book of Mormon, like I think Moroni in the Book of Mormon says, I'm writing to y'all
As if you were
you're
here.
and
Yeah.
yet you're not.
Yeah.
And she's writing to you as if you're old enough to understand
understand it.
what it is that's being said. Assuming that at some point you would get this letter and read it. And then I guess the question is, so what was your reaction when you read it the first time?
It's just a jewel. I mean, just, you know, it's just,
Almost like she's right there speaking to
yeah.
you.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's something that you hold on to for you know, it's worth more than any money to have when you have something like
Who sits down and writes for the future like that, not even knowing that she might die young,
Right.
you know?
that. Right. She
That's
didn't
pretty
have, yeah,
awesome.
that was when we were all little. It wasn't even on her mind
Exactly.
that she would have cancer, you know, 20 years from then.
Yeah.
But anyway,
She's like a Horcrux.
what is a horse?
Michelle's sitting next to you, right? What's a Horcrux?
It's like this, like extra. It's like where you can have more than one life, kind of.
You can preserve
Yeah.
yourself for the future.
Your like soul. You can split your soul and it goes into something else.
This is a Harry Potter term, I
That's
guess.
right. That's what made me think of it. You're talking about your mom kind of leaving something for the future, so that she's
Right.
and she's remembered. That's kind of. And Michelle's sitting there. I know you're reading Harry Potter.
She
them
just
all.
finished all the books.
Nice.
She's been reading them all year
Nice.
long.
Good
She got them
job.
for Christmas last
But
year.
generally, Horcruxes are not a good thing. But this is like a good. It's
It
like a
doesn't
positive.
sound good.
It's a positive Horcrux.
Yeah, you have to kill somebody to get it.
Oh,
Okay, maybe that's not a good analogy, but it's kind of cool that like the hearts of the children are turned to the fathers and the fathers to the children, but this is the heart of the children being turned to future children, which that's kind of what like videotaping events and things for future generations. That's the hearts of the children turning to their children. And I think that's pretty cool. That's kind of what she did.
Yeah.
She's like, I want y'all to know what I was thinking when Reagan was president of the United States.
yeah.
And inflation was through the roof and all the other madness. It really was a mad time.
Yeah. Seems like so long ago, but
Yeah.
at the same time wasn't when you read what she's saying.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for letting us videotape this.
Yeah. Thanks for
straight
doing
to
it.
YouTube.